at Invictus?
Why I'm here?
Yeah, why are you at Invictus?
Just coming
Sure, really? Yeah? That's why you came to see? Or is it because you know Harry and Meghan were going to be here today? Yeah. Yeah, we've read the things you've wrote about them, especially Meghan. We've seen your book, we've heard about your book. So it's very interesting that you're at Invictus because we know why you're here. So why don't you tell the truth about why you're here? You came all the way from the UK and the UK press to Invictus in Canada just because you want to see it? Nah, I don't think so.
Ladies and gentlemen, gather around because today we are serving up justice, karma, and a piping hot plate of humiliation, all in one go. If you thought the trolls were getting too comfortable, think again. Their reign of nonsense is officially on borrowed time, and leading the charge, none other than a fierce, fearless, no-nonsense Sussex fan who just shut it down. Tom Bower, the self-proclaimed expert on dismantling the Sussexes' image, had the floor. His reputation preceded him, known for his relentless pursuit of controversy and his unyielding stance against Harry and Meghan. He stood there, bathed in the harsh spotlight, ready to deliver yet another scathing critique. His words dripped with the same venom he'd splashed across countless pages, each syllable designed to discredit Harry and Meghan. His voice was a weapon, sharp and cutting, aimed directly at the heart of their public image. He spoke with a fervour that bordered on obsession, his intense expression revealing the depth of his animosity. But something was different this time. The usual air of complacency was replaced by a palpable tension. The audience, typically passive recipients of Bower's diatribes, seemed more alert, more engaged. There was a sense of anticipation that had nothing to do with Bower's usual tirade. A new energy filled the room, a sense of anticipation that had nothing to do with Bower's usual tirade. People were leaning forward in their seats, eyes wide with expectation. It was as if they were waiting for something or someone to challenge the narrative that had been so forcefully imposed upon them. Bower had grown accustomed to nodding heads and murmurs of agreement. His audience, often a chorus of approval, had always validated his views. He thrived on their support, using it as a shield against any dissenting voices. He painted the Sussexes as villains, and the world, or at least a certain corner of it, seemed eager to believe him. His portrayal was black and white, devoid of nuance, and it resonated with those who sought simple answers to complex questions. He thrived on the negativity, his words fueling the fire of a narrative built on misinformation and fueled by prejudice. The more he spoke, the more the atmosphere in the room grew charged, his intensity feeding off the reactions of his audience. Yet on this day his usual smugness seemed to waver, a flicker of uncertainty in his eyes. It was as if he sensed that the tide was turning, that his words were no longer landing with the same impact. For the first time, doubt crept into his expression. Little did he know, he was about to face a force far stronger than his carefully crafted narratives. A voice, clear and resolute, was about to rise above the noise, challenging the very foundation of his arguments. This voice belonged to someone who had seen through the facade, someone who was ready to speak truth to power. The stage was set for a confrontation that would leave an indelible mark on everyone present. As the young woman stood up, the room fell silent. All eyes turned to her, curiosity and surprise etched on their faces. She took a deep breath, her resolve unwavering. This was her moment, and she was ready to seize it. Her voice, though initially soft, grew stronger with each word. She spoke with a passion that was impossible to ignore, her words cutting through the tension like a knife. She challenged Bower's assertions, presenting a perspective that was both insightful and compassionate. The audience, initially taken aback, began to nod in agreement. Her words resonated with them, offering a counter-narrative that was both refreshing and empowering. It was clear that she had struck a chord, her voice rising above the noise to deliver a message of hope and understanding. Bower, for the first time, looked visibly shaken. His carefully constructed facade was crumbling, his confidence eroding with each passing moment. He had not anticipated this challenge, and it was clear that he was struggling to maintain his composure. As the young woman finished speaking, the room erupted in applause. People stood up, clapping and cheering, their support for her evident. She had done what many thought impossible. She had risen above the noise, her voice a beacon of truth in a sea of misinformation. She smiled, a sense of accomplishment washing over her. She had faced the storm and emerged victorious, her voice a testament to the power of truth and resilience. In that moment, she had not only challenged Bauer, but had also inspired countless others to do the same. As the audience began to leave the auditorium, there was a sense of change in the air. The narrative had shifted, and with it, the power dynamics. It was a reminder that even in the face of overwhelming odds, a single voice could make a difference. The young woman walked out, her head held high, her determination unwavering. She had made her mark, and she knew that this was just the beginning. Her voice had risen above the noise, and it would continue to do so, inspiring others to speak their truth and challenge the status quo. Bauer was on a mission, a self-appointed crusader against the couple who dared to break free from the gilded cage of royalty. His determination was palpable, his every move calculated to dismantle the image of the Sussexes. He'd penned Revenge, a book so blatantly biased it should have come with a disclaimer. The pages dripped with his disdain, each chapter meticulously crafted to paint Meghan and Harry in the worst possible light. He toured the world, spewing his carefully constructed truths, each appearance an opportunity to further tarnish the Sussexes' name. From television interviews to book signings, Bauer seized every platform to spread his narrative. He painted a picture of Meghan as a manipulative social climber, a woman who used her charm to trap Harry in her web. To him, she was the villain in a modern-day fairy tale gone wrong. Harry, in his telling, was a hapless victim, blinded by love and led astray by his ambitious wife. Bauer's portrayal of Harry was that of a prince who had lost his way, ensnared by Meghan's allure. It was a compelling narrative for those who wanted to believe the worst, a justification for their own prejudices and resentments. Bauer's words resonated with those who were already inclined to view the Sussexes with suspicion. Bauer's words had power, the power to shape public opinion and inflict real damage. His book became a tool for those who sought to undermine Meghan and Harry's credibility, a weapon in the ongoing war of public perception. The impact of Bauer's mission was far-reaching. Headlines screamed his accusations, and conversations in cafes and living rooms echoed his sentiments. His narrative became a part of the cultural conversation, influencing how people viewed the couple. Social media amplified his message, with countless posts and shares spreading his version of events. The digital age ensured that Bauer's words reached a global audience, further entrenching the divide between supporters and detractors of the Sussexes. Book clubs and discussion groups dissected his work, debating the merits and biases of his arguments. For some, Bauer's book was a revelation. For others, it was a glaring example of one-sided storytelling. Reviews poured in, with critics and readers alike weighing in on the controversial tome. Some praised Bauer's thorough research and bold claims, while others condemned his apparent vendetta against the Sussexes. In the end, Bauer's mission to destroy was as much about the audience as it was about the subjects of his scrutiny. His book served as a mirror reflecting the biases and beliefs of those who read it, and leaving an indelible mark on the public discourse surrounding Meghan and Harry. From the back of the room, a figure stood. The air was thick with tension, the kind that makes every breath feel heavy. All eyes turned, curiosity peaked as the figure began to move forward. A young woman, her brow furrowed with a mix of disappointment and quiet anger. Her eyes, though, held a spark, a glimmer of something more profound. Courage. She wasn't a celebrity, not a journalist with a platform or a royal expert with a book deal. She was an ordinary person, dressed in casual attire, blending into the crowd until this very moment. She was simply a woman who had had enough, a woman who refused to let Bauer's distortions stand unchallenged. Her resolve was palpable, a silent declaration that truth must prevail. She moved with purpose, her steps measured and calm. Each step was a testament to her determination, a quiet defiance against the falsehoods that had been spread. This wasn't about aggression, this was about truth. Her demeanor was calm, her expression one of earnest sincerity. She was here to speak, not to shout, to enlighten, not to attack. In her hands, she held not a weapon, but a copy of Finding Freedom. A book that offered a different perspective, a glimpse into the real Harry and Meghan. It was a symbol of her quest for truth, a beacon of hope amidst the sea of misinformation. It was a perspective Bauer conveniently ignored, choosing to paint his own distorted picture. The book in her hands was more than just pages and ink. It was a narrative that deserved to be heard, a story that countered the prevailing narrative. This was her moment, a chance to stand up, not just for the Sussexes, but for fairness and honesty. She knew that her voice, though small, could make a difference. It was a ripple in the water, a spark that could ignite a flame of change. Her face, now visible to all, radiated determination. She was not just standing up for Harry and Meghan, she was standing up for everyone who believed in justice and truth. The crowd watched, some surprised, others nodding in agreement. Her courage was contagious, a reminder that one voice can indeed make a difference. She began to speak, her voice steady and clear. She spoke of fairness, of the importance of seeing the whole picture, not just the parts that fit a convenient narrative. Her words were a call to action, a plea for honesty in a world too often clouded by bias. Finding Freedom was more than just a book. It was a testament to the power of perspective. It was a reminder that every story has multiple sides, and that understanding comes from listening to them all. As she closed the book and looked up, her expression was one of unwavering resolve. She had done what she came to do. She had spoken her truth, and in doing so had ignited a spark of courage in others. The room began to clap, a slow build of support that grew louder. Some people stood, their applause a sign of solidarity. In that moment it was clear, one voice, one spark can indeed ignite a movement. She stood tall amidst the crowd, a beacon of courage and truth. Her actions had shown that even in the face of overwhelming odds, one person can make a difference. And as the applause echoed around her, it was evident that her spark had ignited a flame that would not easily be extinguished. Reaching the microphone, she spoke, her voice clear and steady, cutting through the silence that had fallen over the room. She didn't shout, she didn't need to. Her words, measured and calm, held the weight of truth, a stark contrast to Bauer's venomous pronouncements. She spoke of the countless inaccuracies in his work, the biased reporting, the deliberate omission of facts that didn't fit his narrative. She spoke of the real Harry and Meghan, the couple she knew from their charitable work, their dedication to each other and their causes. With each sentence, she chipped away at the wall of lies Bauer had so carefully constructed.